Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, Esther fans. I welcome you to this exciting moment here. It will be a very brief broadcast this evening. Yes, if you're joining us, you're most welcome. Kindly hit the like buttons, share the video. We are to address a particular concern that borders on the safety, the security, the unrest, of course, rocking the southeastern region or the supposed Biafran defunct region. It is no longer news, of course, what is going on in the Biafran land or the eastern part of Nigeria, formerly known as the old eastern region or the southeast. Why I have to come up with this discussion today is to clear some air. In the morning, during our morning program, one of the viewers commented that Igbos do not like themselves, they hate themselves, and as such, uh, they are responsible for whatever is happening within the Eastern Territory. So they hate themselves, that's why they are killing themselves, that's why there is unrest and all that. I was trying to clear the air of what I understand about my own people. We are peace loving people. We are industrious in nature. We value lives and we don't take pleasure in the destruction of human lives. Quite clear, as long as I know, as much as I know, during those days when I was in the village, if somebody eventually die and the cause of the death is unknown, maybe it's within the boundary of the neighboring communities, the elders of the community will come out, make investigations. Why such happens, or the death of such, what could have led to that? Contact other neighboring communities or their Eze, traditional rulers. They will come and perform certain rituals that we don't know what's transpired to the death of this person. Our hands are off his blood. So this is to the extent to how the Igbos value human life. They wouldn't want the blood of an innocent person to be spilled in their own soil, in their own motherland, because they understood the implication and, of course, the consequences of church. It might attract certain some causes to the immediate homes, families, especially if the person is innocent, not the person who come to kill them. As my people say, "Obelebum wo onwe ya, aka ma do ya." If you are coming with bad intention to kill the people has the right to self-defense. This is not the area I'm going to. Now, what I want to do is to clear the air for those who are parading and sponsoring some deceptive notions about the Igbo race. As I maintain, and the person said is going to unsubscribe, as if my whole life depends on the subscription. I'm telling you the truth and nothing but the truth. You can also make your findings that Igbos are one of the most industrious people or ethnic nationalities, not just in Nigeria, the world over. Wherever you see them, of course, they're enterprising in nature, their interpre, entrepreneurial spirits will always show up. I have friends who said their Igbo friends taught them how to do business. I, that is not to say that we don't have people from other ethnic nationalities who are good at what they do. No. But I say in a by consideration of the impact of the Igbos across wherever they found themselves. And the person got angry, get annoyed, and say you will unsubscribe. Can you imagine that madness? How can somebody who call himself Mustafa understand my own people more than me? How can you tell my own story more than I myself? You see, this has been going on where they tell the narratives, they tell our story, and in the course of telling our story, they distort the main story, they distort our history, they distort our belief system, they distort our values system in such a way to project the bad side or whatever they intend to achieve. Somebody calling himself Mustafa could dare to challenge me in what I know best. So I'm trying to clear the and of course to correct such notion, erroneous one for that matter, that Igbos don't hurt themselves. Yeah, we may have individual differences. Igbos believe in liberality. They believe, of course, they practice true democracy, where even the voice, opinion of the least in the family matters. When issues of importance is being discussed that borders on the collective interest and existence of the entire family. Just to start with, the same thing applies to the communal level and what have you. So he said he will subscribe as if I will come and beg you because they don't want to hear the truth. They only want to hear the negative narratives that may have been sponsored for a particular interest or to protect certain interests to the public, to push certain narrative about the Easterners. They are hospitable, they are loving people. Ask, if you doubt me, ask the coppers who have served 1 year of their service year in the Eastern region. You will see how they are being treated. Ask some Yorubas who reside within the East. They are being treated with dignity, with respect, because my people do say, Ojemba Enweiro. That is an ideology well pronounced, well seated in the heart of any Igbo man. Because Igbo man is Ojemba. By implication, it means, or interpretation, it simply means that a traveler does not have enemy. Because we travel wide and near, very versatile, we traverse the entire world, making waves. So we should not be hostile to our own very strangers within our domain. That is the principle of an Igbo man. It's been passed on from generation to generation. Now, when people try to make great narratives about the killings that Igbo had themselves, these are destructive notions, sponsored, engineered by certain powers, certain interests, group, or personalities who think they have the power to do whatever they want to do within this region. If you're joining us, please kindly hit the like buttons, share this video, let people share it in different platforms. Let people join in this discussion because it's an expository one. It's a one that will destroy whatever notion, negative notion being held against the Igbo people. And of course, so that you understand exactly what is playing out. There have been revelations made by the United States, United Kingdom organizations uh, over the findings that the sponsor or initiators of a Bubago used that to kill several innocent Igbo youths and to disorganize the entire region for their political gains. They want to make the region ungovernable so that they can project their interests and create a negative narrative about the Igbo people. Just as I rightly said, Igbos don't, in the entire Igbo land, I believe the same happens to the entire eastern region. They don't like the killing of strangers in their own domain. It is a taboo. It's been abhorred. So they don't promote that. In fact, something happened. There was one pastor, of course, in our place. He's a Yoruba man in one of the Redeemed churches in my own village. You see how they are being pampered? They pampered. You don't not touch an indigent, dare not do anything that will make that man angry. You see how the community will troop out and fight such individual. They do all they could to protect the interests of strangers within their own domain, within their own community, because they knew for sure that their illustrious sons and daughters are elsewhere, of course, in diaspora, scattered all over the world. And of course, so and as such, they wouldn't want them to be treated in in uh, in ill way or be suppressed or marginalized. So they would want to treat the person as their own son and daughter. More importantly, give them whatever they need within their own reach. Most of them never paid for the house. Go and ask those who did that service here in the East. They've been provided free house, accommodations, accessible water, of course, and other things. Even if it's during vegetables and farming season, you see them, they will give them corns, heads of corns, all sorts of vegetables at their disposal. So these are what Igbos are known for. But suddenly we begin to see a different alliance, different and ugly situations unfolding. Prior to that time, you know what the president said? He said that he's going to deal with the Igbos. It is before public domain. He said he's going to deal with them. A dot, he described the Igbos as a dot in a cycle. You can imagine a, a nomadic Fulani man describing the entire Igbo race as a dot in a cycle. And he's going to teach them the language they understand. So, in order to achieve that purpose or evil motive or agenda, of course, he have to deploy his mercenaries. Most people who joined the Ebubagos were from the north. There have been several revelations that they are not even the Igbo indigenes or people from the eastern region. They imported certain people, of course, to unleash mayhem for the very purpose to kill and to murder, and of course to discredit the agitation for the restoration of the Biafran state, which, as it stands now, from the foregoing, we understand they have fared woefully. So this organization conducted independent research inquiry into what is happening within the eastern region, and they published their reports about who were the sponsors of this unrest, civil unrest in the east. So When they create the narrative, it was intended to project the negative image of the Igbo people and by extension the entire Biafran region uh, in the community, before the community of nations, as people who are killing their own best people, murdering and destroying lives and the properties of their people. Whereas the sponsorers, and those conniving, of course, to achieve this dastard act, has very ulterior motive for doing that. They want to cause unrest so that at the end of the day, it will now be shifted, or IPOB has to be blamed for such unrest. But it has been discovered it's no longer in a history or in a hidden secret. According to Sahara reporters, the information published in their website, it said UK organization released a report on how ex-president Buhari allegedly founded a Bubago in the southeast. Did you get it? Does that come as a surprise to you? Because he has made the statement that he's going to teach them in the language, deal with them in the language they will understand. And of course, he did, but we are yet to understand what he was trying to teach us. Though thousands of the youths were killed, forcing disappearance of the youths. Our mothers are being raped, killed, and he was still pushing for ranch, ranching, whatever, cattle rally, whatever, uh, water bill, waterways bill, or grazing lands routes, and whatever. He was trying to make sure that he achieved that agenda of killing and exterminating the entire Igbo people, as he rightly claimed that he will, of course, wipe the dots in the cycle. It's just a matter of time, but he definitely failed in achieving that. Now, you can see from the report published by the Sahara reporters, he said their intention was to kill residents using Imo State, Ebony State governments as executors. We saw that played out, of course, during the Umahi, and of course, also them who initiated the Bubago, not with intention to protect the people. But you saw how people are being killed. Even the 14 youth who are returning from traditional wedding, of course, we are rounded up and killed in the most brutal and gruesome manner by the same Bubago, because the intentions was to kill and mar, to destroy, to cause pain and agony in families. I mean, people are still weeping and wailing for their loved ones who died without any justifiable cause. And it is still staring at us. Why should all these things be happening in the East? That raises much concern for those who understood that the Eastern people are not people that does not value life. They value human life. They respect the sacredness of human dignity and human life. So you saw what that happens. And unfortunately, the perpetrators of this heinous crime haven't been brought to book. Well, we hope that someday, of course, they will be made to answer for their criminality and genocidal conspiracy against the Eastern people, more precisely the Igbo race. Now, let me read further, of course, from these revelations. He said, the US UK organization released reports on how the ex-president Buhari funded Ebubagu, you see, in the southeast to kill the residents using the willing vessels of the Eastern extraction, to kill their own brothers, mar their own brothers and sisters. Then that's so many families, I mean, uh, homeless, and of course, the future of those communities and families were wiped off because of these uh, obnoxious intentions, which was sponsored by the state. Now you can see the report stated that the remote reason behind the rising and pro- proliferation of more than 20 armed killers entities in Igbo land, 20 armed killers who were sponsored, equipped with the intention to kill, to destroy, most pronouncedly the youth, because they are the ones who can mount resistance or oppose whatever the invaders or those that may want to challenge and said, who are those doing these things? So the intention was to kill them and, of course, render the entire region helpless. In the face of any confrontation, of course, not even the old men will come out to fight. It's the youth that owns the community. It's you that has the agility, the energy to confront and to resist any opposition or obstacle or invasion that may possibly, of course, issue. So their target was, of course, against the Igbo youth. You can now see what is happening. See, more than 20 armed killers entities in Igbo lands adopting kidnapping. You begin to ask what is happening. And some useless fellows will come here to tell me that Igbos hate themselves. Igbo doesn't like themselves. How did they arrive at that submission? Because of the negative and false narrative that have been created, intentionally sponsored, of course, before the out there in the public domain. But the reality, of course, is catching up with all our sundry today. People are now beginning to understand, of course, and the inquiries have been set to find out the remote cause and sponsors of this. And it's been of revealed, and it's no longer a hidden secret. So you can see that, especially the southeast and Igbo parts of the south Nigeria, since 2015 and January 2021. You can understand that. A special investigative report by some research groups in the United States, United Kingdom, and the Nigeria has revealed how former President Muhammadu Buhari allegedly used the Ebubago security outfit to harass and kill thousands of innocent Igbo residents and push for a radical Islamic agenda in the southeast region. Do you get it? Do you get it? This is Sahara Reporters publishing these revelations. It's not Chicos and Devo. We're here to analyze and give in-depth analysis and description to what possibly had transpired upon revelation. The report was published, okay, as a collaborative effort of the International Society for Civil Liberty and Rule of Law, Inter-Society of the Ekwenche Research Institute, the Chicago, Illinois, USA, okay, the Global Igbo Leaders Coalition also lend their voice to this, United Kingdom, and the Rising Sun Charities Organization in Newark or Jersey, USA. See, these revelations has been made. The organization noted that the Ebubago security arrangement was also a channel through which illicit small arms and illegal weapons were proliferated in the region, adding that the Imo and the Ebonyi government were particularly culpable in the implementation of the jihads of the jihadist Fulani and Islamic agenda. You see, these are revelations that was made according to these research organizations. He said the report was signed, of course, okay, by those concerned, and you can't understand what that means. They are not denying, of course, their assertions and their findings, and you can now understand clearly what that means. The report stated that the remote reason behind the rising and the proliferation of the more than 20 armed killers entity in Igbo land, especially as I have rightly said in Igbo land, was to annihilate and forcefully impose jihadist Islamic agenda on the eastern part of the country. You know, during the Buhari time, uh, some northern or Islamic organizations said they will enforce Sharia in the southwest because they have almost conquered the southwestern region of Nigeria. So their only obstacle to the Islamization agenda was the eastern region that have resisted them vehemently, and most especially upon the revelation made by the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. He made a very expository revelations which scuttled all the plans. And of course, he went further to initiate the Eastern Security Network with the intention of repelling the invaders who may want to, of course, occupy the bushes, kill our farmers, our sisters and brothers who goes to farm for their daily bread, and of course, occupy the same farmland and use it for a grazing land. So the emergence of Eastern Security Network, before it was distorted or hijacked by some politicians with the conspiracy of those concerned who decided to betray, of course, that particular body. Before finally the emergence of Simon Ekpa, who now stepped into the scene, of course, and marshaled out his own security outfit, which he called the Biafra Defense Force and Biafra Liberation Army. After the Eastern Security has been infiltrated by the politicians, of course, and weakened most of their own frontiers, killed or displaced, most of them left and run away. So the Igbo, the entire eastern region was exposed to such level of vulnerability. What is happening in Borno, in Katsina, in Zamfara today would have been the same thing repeating in the east, where my mothers, my brothers, my siblings, my uncles would have fled their communities to a known destination. Would they flee to the east, or would they flee to the north that is already waiting, of course, for danger? So that would have been the eastern region would have been the worst hit if not for the timely intervention of the ESN and of course Mazi Simon Iba, who wrote out his own security outfit as he described it as under the government of Biafra Republic government in exile, resisting and repelling those invaders sometimes under military camouflage, coming to kidnap, just as the prelate of the Methodist Church Nigeria revealed after he was rescued from his kidnappers. He paid a ransom of 100 million. And from that revelation, he said That these people said they have occupied the entire forest, have rounded up Nigeria. They are only waiting for the right time, of course, the signal to unleash uh, such mayhem, and they exterminate the entire region, the people, and occupy their land. You can still see that revelation in social media. He made that frantic submissions that, in fact, they collected the 10 million, and upon his release, the indigenes, because it's in his own country, in around Okigwe, where he resides. So when the youth saw that, they were angered by such that start out. They said, let them go to the forest and fish those people out. Who are those that will come in their own community, in their own town, and adopt their own children, their own uncles, and yet they tired to the safe haven down the forest? Let them go and hunt them, of course, and fish them out. There was a military checkpoint very close to that crime scene, and the military said, don't enter the bush. We will deal with you. We will wipe you off if you dare to go after those people. Which he made submission that there is a conspiracy, of course, of the military or that checkpoints with what is going on. Because the proximity of his adoption to where they mount the military checkpoints is not, it's just a stone throw. So why would such thing be happening, and yet there could not be any intervention on the part of the military? It means they are doing some shady deeds, of course, uh, uh, get it and let's share, or whatever happens. So you can understand that when people say Igbos don't hate they hate themselves, they don't love themselves. These are alliance strangers in our fatherland trying to scuttle and destroy the very essence of our existence. Prior to this time, before Buhari time, there are internationally certified documentary or research that certified that the eastern region, especially Imo State, happens to be one of the most serene region in Nigeria. Most people are serene, most hospitable, where you can relax, you come and eat your money. For those who say they come to where to eat money, they come to Enugu to eat money. You see? But unfortunately, those things begin to erode because of the level of atrocity and impunity that is being sponsored, deliberately sponsored to destroy the region, to turn it to Zamfara, to Katsina, even in his own home state. Today, Katsina is not secured. So this is the person sponsoring a Bubagu in the eastern region to kill and to murder. Today, Katsina is a god. His own Katsina is not safe. If a president cannot protect his own state, then how sure can he be trusted with the responsibility of protecting other states, other regions? The rest is history, of course. We are seeing it today. That people are being killed in the same Katsina state where he hails from. So after sponsoring all those Boko Haram bandits to win election, and you cannot push them back because they have gained more arms, they have gained more strength, they have understood that this is a very lucrative place to run their business of adoption and killing and manning, and of course, and overrunning communities. And as such, they will continue to do that as long as you can see that intentionally or deliberately, Buhari and his cohorts created a monster that is bedeviling the entire North today. They created the devil that is bedeviling them today. So you don't blame anyone. Unfortunately, the vulnerable masses are the ones bearing the brunt. Today, they are running with their properties and families, their children, to unknown destination. They are being chased out. You see? So that is what happens. You did all this with the intention of making the government of Jonathan miserable and ungovernable. But in the long run, you have succeeded to destroy the entire northern hemisphere. Today, there is no peace in the north. Today, you can see what is going on in the north. I pity the north, but unfortunately, they are not yet, of course, ripe. They are not yet in terms with realities to get to understand that their problems are the political exposed persons who have taken undue advantage of them and have kept them in perpetual servitude. Today, they are running helter-skelter. I pity those children and the innocent mothers, and of course, who unfortunately we have no other place to run to. Especially some ethnic nationalities within the north is being threatened. It's quite unfortunate, but that is the reality happening today. So, the Mustafa or whoever you call yourself, I think, well, I have blocked him because of his prejudice, trying to create a false narrative that does not exist. So, evils happens everywhere, but when it is intentionally sponsored by the state, just like what is happening in the east with the Bubagos and the rest of them, has been revealed that more than 20 armed killers, militias, in the east, what are they doing there? If they need protection or volatile regions, that is the north. The north are deserted. Families, how many IDPs camps in the north? So why can't they be moved there to protect the northern population that are in the most vulnerable states? Honestly, I pity them. It's quite unfortunate that they will live or continue to live with these realities as long as they would not want to understand that the political elites are their problems and nothing more. Their problems are not in Nnamdi Kanu, and some are calling that Nnamdi Kanu should not be released. Your problem is within your Sokoto, within your laps. Your problem is created within the northern states, northern regions, not until you pay attention to the problem than being this mischievous, looking into other people's concerns when you have not fixed your own problem. You say if Nnamdi Kanu, if Tinubu releases Nnamdi Kanu, Nigeria will divide. Well, I don't consider that as a threat. Whatever happens, whether the president likes it or not, there is no law in Nigeria. There is no law within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence that have indicted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of whatever crime as it stands today. So there is no charge against him. What the act of court settlements, we are watching and to see what's transpired in the course of time. But he will walk out a free man. He is a free man indeed. Tinubu protested. There was a time he protested the last 30 years. He protested, he fought against injustice, he fought against what he called suppressions or marginalization or intimidations by the military juntas. So you cannot stop people from fighting for their own rights. What they believe, of course, and convince is for their interests, for their betterment and preservations of their generation, posterity, and for their own peace. You can't stop that. Because you did that when it matters most to you. So you cannot say now, no, these people should not because you are the president. Someone was the president when you protested. When you mobilize people, even when you run to exile, from there you were also making contacts, of course, sponsoring people to continue the protest. So you can understand that those who come to equity must come with a clean hands. Okay, on this note, I wrap it up here. Thank you once again for being part of this brief broadcast, though we've taken about 40 minutes plus. I tend to round it up here, wishing you the best of the times and seasons, of course, we are in. Yes, today is the first day of July, which marks the beginning of the second half of the year. So we must be sincere to ourselves. We must understand beyond sentiments, beyond ethnic alignments, what is important is the safety, is the prosperity of the human race. That should be our priority and drive. We can't be playing all these sentiments and intents to move forward. Say the truth, even when it is bitter, when it hurts you. That is only when we can be saved. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I wouldn't want to go, of course, it is in the depths of the Attorney General, Fabemi, and of course the President to do the needful. Just as they did in the interest of justice, according to them, they released the Mieti Allah leader. And of course, Shawore Sunday Bowu is a free man walking on the street. Somebody said that he's in exile. Sunday Bowu came back to Nigeria and of course eventually decided to leave or to return to his base. He's a free man. So where is that justice? Where is that equity? Where is that fairness? Or you want to continue to build Nigeria, to hold Nigeria as one under injustice, unfairness, and inequality. It cannot stand. These are simple principles. You can't build a house in a sandy sand. It is just a matter of time. Either the flood or the storm can go against it and it will not stand, it will collapse. So anyone talking about issues of the borders on the existence and the pursuit of independence must understand that freedom is the utmost priority of the human race. It's an inalienable right and should be guided jealously by all concerned. So there is nothing wrong if that will bring about transformations within the regions. Or, of course, let the one have their own nation if they so desire, or they want to join the Arewas. It's good for them. Two cannot work together except there is an agreement. If they so desire, good for them. If the Biafrans want to leave, let them go so that peace will reign. Each region has its own comparative advantage. So why are we killing ourselves? Why are we wasting business on both sides, trying to execute something that is not even necessary? It's not necessary. The killing is needless. The pandemonium, the crisis, the panic being triggered is senseless, it's needless. So I hope, of course, what is incumbent on the political leaders and those concerned to begin to tell themselves the truth. And it's only the truth that will save us in the days of calamity. Thank you once again for being part of this program. Kindly hit the like buttons. Please hit the like buttons. Hit the like buttons. Don't just stop from this broadcast without hitting the like buttons. What I'm saying there is just about it. Thank you for those who complied to this simple directive. It doesn't take much to do so. Thank you once again. Whatever be the case, of course, I'm winding up this program. This very moment, remain blessed, remain safe, and may the God of peace continue to abide with us as we seek to promote peace and, of course, the cause of humanity. Thank you once again, and good night.